busy people getting fit in Fulshear, Texas. Our aim is to help you look better, feel better, and perform better as quickly as possible. I'm your host, Bryan White with Blue Eagle Fitness and Nutrition. Welcome.
Okay, so women. We have a lot of women athletes in our gym, amazing, beautiful women who work hard, and we want it all. We want abs. We want tacos. We don't want to be confined to one of the love languages. We want to have all. And so my question is to you, Bryan, as the expert on. My question is to you as the expert on fitness.
Yeah.
Is how do we have it all? How do we get it all? I want abs, but I want wine.
Sure.
I want to look great in a bathing suit, but I want tacos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do I get there?
Okay, so let me start with the true answer is that it kind of depends. So it depends on a bit of where we are, right? Where are we starting? Where are we in our fitness journey at the moment? Because if you're asking me, how do I lose the last 5 pounds? That's a different scenario than how do I lose 40 pounds? Okay. Those are two different scenarios that require two different answers that I need to give you. So is there one?
Yes. So I can narrow that down for you because
Okay.
I talk to everybody in the gym all the time.
Sure.
No surprise there, but I talk to women a lot. We have these conversations, and a lot of us do want to lose that last 5 pounds. You know, we've worked really hard for years. We feel gotten strong.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. Just want to lose that last 5 pounds.
Yeah. Just anytime I've learned, anytime you use the word just or should, that means that whatever comes next is virtually impossible, right? I mean, all you have to do is just, and how often has someone said that to you and you're like, no, that is not an all you have to do is just statement. But so let's say we've got a 45-year-old woman wanting to lose 5 pounds. She feels that she eats well. She watches and she's eating protein at every meal. She's eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, and she's working out 4 days a week. Let's take that example. So, to that woman in particular, and honestly, a lot of this is not women specific to that individual. It could be man or woman. When we're talking about losing those last 5 pounds, those last 5 are the hardest. That's a full stop. Those are the hardest. Now, the good news is that once we lose those, then we can go into a maintenance phase. Like whatever else I'm about to say to lose the last 5 pounds, that is not forever. Okay. And we want you to reach a maintenance phase that is completely sustainable and you can do for the rest of your life. Okay. So if we look at the scenario of how do you lose those last 5 pounds? Yes, it requires more diligence than it did before. And that diligence is related to your nutrition. It is, you prior to us starting this call, you listed out, we want it all. We want to be able to hang out with friends. We want to have a great relationship with our spouse. We want to be able to take our kids here and there. And, and that's great. Well, we want you to have that well-rounded life, but you're not going to have the opportunity to out-train your diet. You don't have an opportunity to come in, do your high-intensity CrossFit workout, lifting, with strength training or resistance training, and then go spend another hour and a half, cycling or running. I mean, that most of us do not have that opportunity. from a time perspective. And then we would have to then recover, right? I mean, again, we've got a 45-year-old athlete or client or person that we're no longer 23. We've got to spend time recovering every time we add on more work to do. So with that being kind of out of bounds, not realistic, we need to focus more on nutrition. And people don't like that answer. You know, whenever I start nutrition coaching with someone, one of the first, if not the first, if it's definitely in the top three, is how much alcohol can I drink? You know, and so we've now got to start changing the mindset a little bit, rather than what is the least I can do to get the result I want. I want you to instead consider, what result will I get if I do the best that I can? Okay. What is the result I will get if I do the best that I can? Now, in this scenario, we're trying to lose the last 5 pounds. You know, we want to make sure I would weigh and measure food, you know, but not everything. You and I have talked before, and you like to complain about, I can't weigh and measure everything. I understand. Let's start with weighing and measuring your protein, right? The chicken, the pork, the steak, the beef. Let's weigh that. Let's see how much of that you're eating. For most of us, we're going to be wanting to eat anywhere between 0.7 and 1 gram of protein for every pound of lean mass. Okay. Now, if someone's listening to this podcast and they're like, how in the world do I measure lean mass? That's what we have an InBody for. We have an InBody. We can measure your lean mass, but basically it's your weight minus your body fat. That would give you you know, so if you're 30% body fat, then you would take your weight, multiply that by 0.7. That would be 70% lean mass. And then we would multiply that by either somewhere between 0.7 and 1 to get how many grams of protein for your lean mass. For most of us, you know, that's going to fall in between 100 to 130 grams or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're trying to, the benefits to eating protein, number one, it's going to make you feel full. Okay. You're not going to be, you're less likely to feel hungry. It's going to make sure that you have the amino acids that you need in your bloodstream to build muscle as you break it down and through resistance training. Then we need to build it back up. And that's how we get that leaner definition, that toned definition.
And that's say it's 100 grams. Is that something I would divide up equally between breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Honestly, it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
If you're, there are plenty of Yahoo articles that will tell you, and plenty of people who want to try to convince you that you need to eat a little bit of throughout the day. And keep in mind, most of those people are trying to sell you a snack bar. They know that at 10:30 a.m. you're busy and you don't have time for that. So just grab this bar that I'm trying to sell you. The reality is, the research is very clear. Your body is designed. I mean, it's not a robot. It's not a machine. I mean, your food gets in your stomach and then it is metered out into your small intestine. It does not, it's not just like a water hose, right? I mean, your body is designed to handle it. If you eat it all at one meal, that would be okay. Probably wouldn't be the best for your digestive system, and I would not recommend it. But 3 meals a day is pretty solid.
And what about the balance between the carbs and the fat?
Yeah. So
how would you give us a rough idea of like how you would percent those out?
Sure. And I wouldn't start there. If I'm not weighing and measuring food right now, I would start by measuring my protein and then measuring my fruits and vegetables. And for most of us, we don't really need to eat more than 800 grams of fruits and vegetables in a day. People have asked, is that the goal? Well, it kind of depends. if you're currently eating 300 grams of fruits and vegetables a day, let's try to make that 400. Let's not try to more than double it all in one day. Let's try to, can we add an extra apple, an avocado, a banana, watermelon, oranges, grapes? What can we add to your diet that you enjoy? One of my favorite exercises, people say, I don't like eating fruits and vegetables. Okay, I hear that. Surely there's something you like, right? Let's write that down. Well, I like strawberries. Great. Let's write down strawberries. I like watermelon. Everybody likes watermelon. Write down watermelon. Avocado. We live in Texas, south of I-10. Everyone likes avocado. Write down avocado. Eat that. Now we end up making a list of like 12 things. Eat some of those 12 things every day, and can we bump it up a little bit over time? Okay. We run into the fallacy that fruit has sugar in it and therefore it's bad for you. There are 0 people in the world who are obese because they have eaten too many apples. And then, right. Speaking of apples, I don't like apples. Have you ever had a Honeycrisp apple? That's like candy. That is like God's candy that he has given you to a long, happy, healthy life. If you get nothing else from this conversation, Honeycrisp apples are your friend. Well, they're expensive. You know what? That's called the 6-pack tax.
I don't know that for a fact. I've never had liposuction, but so on the average, so you would eat, because you told me one time, you said just eat fruit, eat some extra fruit if you're hungry throughout the day. I thought that was good advice. What would be an ideal, I know you're saying grams, but how much in
more is better. You cannot overeat fruit and vegetables. I mean, I said that in a very definitive way, and maybe somewhere will sue me for it, but it's super hard to eat too many fruits and vegetables. That's why like for me, I don't measure my fruits and vegetables. I have half of my plate are fruits and vegetables. When I want a snack, like I had to go run an errand before this call. I was hungry when I got home. I grabbed a banana. Right? I mean, I did not grab a bag of chips. I did not grab nuts. Well, nuts are healthy. Nuts aren't terrible, but they are high in calories. I mean, nuts are basically fat. We need fat. It's fine. But we also have a tendency to overeat nuts. Most of us need to eat like 6 to 12 almonds a day. And instead, the people who eat almonds eat 30 to 50 almonds a day, right? I mean, and that's where we get out of balance on our nutrition.
Where are you on intermittent fasting?
Yeah, intermittent fasting, just for anyone who may not know, intermittent fasting is where we don't eat for a period of time. All of us intermittent fast already. I mean, from the time that you stop eating in the evening, let's say it's after dinner at 7:30 in the evening, until breakfast, and let's say you eat breakfast at 6:30 the next morning. That is a fast of 11 hours, right? It's a fast of 11 hours. Intermittent fasting, a common way is to, instead of eating breakfast, we're going to skip the time of eating breakfast. And instead, we're not going to eat until 12:30. So now we stopped eating at 7:30 at night. We've gone, 17 hours, right? From 7:30 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. And at that point, now we're going to eat our first meal. Intermittent fasting is a way to reduce your calories. That is, right? We just skipped breakfast. And so that's a meal that we're not going to eat. It can work for some people. Again, we need to figure out, what are we trying to accomplish? We have many people in the gym who intermittent fast. They do not eat breakfast, but they work out at 8:30 or they work out at noon. One guy in particular in the noon class, right? He doesn't eat until 1:30, but he's trying to lose weight. He's doing a phenomenal job, by the way. Phenomenal. He looks awesome. But he knows that at that noon class, his performance is not going to be the greatest. He hasn't eaten in almost 18 hours. His performance isn't going to be as good as if he would have eaten breakfast. But his goal is not to improve performance. his goal is to lose fat. He's been doing a phenomenal job of doing that.
Okay. So for back to us ladies who are trying to either lose a couple pounds the last 5 or gain just a few pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
How about those of us who are concerned, and I'm speaking in general terms because I've talked to people. I'm not necessarily speaking for myself in some cases, but in general terms, how are we to feel about continually lifting heavy, and feeling in some cases, I know some people feel like that's too much. They're feeling like they're getting too bulky or not necessarily going lean direction that they want to, but just more bulk. What would you say to those people? Women. I'm talking about women.
Sure. So the first thing on conversations like that, I like to back it up just a little bit and speak as much about facts as we can. So women in particular, guys, super easy. Like every guy wants to be handsome and strong. Like I've never had a guy come in and say, I'm really concerned about doing CrossFit because my muscles might get too big. Right. No guy has ever said that. Right. Women, on the other hand, have different thoughts on that. Some, different opinions. The first thing I'd like to look at are a bit of data. Like let's look at pictures, because every woman I know looks in the mirror and starts nitpicking things about what's wrong with her. Does that sound reasonable? Does that sound like, yeah, that's fair? Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to back it up a little bit. Like, okay, you don't like the way you look in the mirror. What would you prefer? And have you been getting this feedback from friends? Because usually at that point it's like, well, no, my friends think I look great. Well, yeah. Fair. I mean, so okay. So what's driving that we don't like the way we look? Where I get concerned with someone is when, on one hand, they're concerned they're getting too muscular and too bulky. On the other hand, they don't think they're gaining enough muscle according to the in body. It's like, wait, I mean, what are we doing here? What are we going for? And instead, I'd like to turn the conversation to what are the actions that we can take that we know are healthy, that are going to help us in the short term, the medium term, and help us live a longer, happier, healthier life, right? And those are working out, high intensity workouts with strength training or resistance training 4 to 6 times a week. Those are getting 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, every day, get up and move, whatever that is. It's getting 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep opportunity from the time your head hits the pillow to the time you wake, your alarm goes off in the morning. That is having some sort of meditation or quiet time every day, 5 minutes at least, if not longer. And then relationships. How are your relationships? Having strong relationships with anywhere from 1 to 3 close friends. If we can get that, then what do you look like? Then how do you feel? Because I can promise you, everyone who's doing those things, checking all of those boxes, those are, now we've also not just changed ourselves physically, we have changed ourselves mentally and psychologically as well.
Okay.
But oftentimes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm still not seeing the results that I'm getting. Okay, let's have a look at your sleep. And I get,
oh.
How many hours of sleep? 4. Well, we have now identified an area of improvement. We need to work on that.
I'll tell you, for me, I don't weigh and measure, but I do track my food on MyFitnessPal. It's
Perfect.
just super to track, and that way I know, because like 3 weeks ago I decided to up my protein. I've seen progress. It has been a little bit slow, but it's progress nonetheless. And I do see that when I track my food every day, when I hit that protein number, pretty much everything else falls into line. I mean,
Yeah.
within, if I'm not just binging on something stupid,
Yep.
if I hit the protein number, I find that the rest of my food kind of falls into place, because it leaves the rest of its fruits, vegetables, and salad. Like salad, that's the rest of what I'm eating. So I
Yep.
have seen progress. So I'm very encouraged. And it does take that discipline of every day tracking it for me. But I have seen some progress, so I'm encouraged about that. It's just that I'm impatient. It's like, I want it quicker. How can I get it faster? And you know, we all know what happens when we, try to cut our calories too severely,
Yep.
or double up on our workouts and hurt ourselves. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios that happen when we get impatient,
Yeah.
because we a certain result. So anyway, that's why I wanted to talk about this today. So
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. You tracking your protein and everything else falls into place. That is true for most people. That's why I kind of dodged your question about how do you track fat and carbs, because to a great extent, if we get the protein right, and we're eating half a plate of fruits and vegetables 3 times a day, I mean, you're 90+% of the way, if not all the way there, right? So that's what, yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that. Thank you.
well, thank you for you know thank you for humoring me on my questions. Women, it's very simple, really. We're very simple to understand. If we want it all, we want it now,
Yeah.
and
Well, I mean,
go.
but I know you, and I know a few of the people you're probably talking about, and you're all gorgeous, but none of y'all believe me. So,
Oh, that's the women. While we appreciate compliments from men, and thank you, but when we get a compliment from another woman, that is like, okay,
I agree.
If Bonnie said I look good, I must look good.
I agree. There have been times where a woman has come up to me. I'm training a woman, and she leaves or she goes and takes a break, and another woman comes over and says, "Wow, she looks really good. I've really seen the differences in the past 2 months." And I'm like, "Okay, wait here." And when she comes back, I want you to tell her because she doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen to me.
Well, that's it. That's how it works.
Okay, well, thank you, Clancy.
Thanks, Bryan.
And we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
You can get every episode of Busy People Getting Fit wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can also reach us at busypeoplegettingfit.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.